Okay, so this is going to be part one of three of the host file lab. In part one, we're just going to be modifying the host file in Windows 7, kind of showing you how it works, what it does. In part two, we're going to be creating a batch script or a virus that automatically modifies that host file. And then in part three, we're going to try to do the same thing in Windows 10, but you'll see in Windows 10, um, things are a little bit more difficult to prevent people from doing this. So we're going to go boot up our Windows 7 virtual machine. Again, what is the host file? So normally we use DNS to resolve an IP address from a domain name. So when you go to google.com, a DNS server changes that google.com into an IP address that's called resolve. So usually we use DNS servers to resolve domain names to IP addresses. But we can override what a DNS server says by modifying the host file. So there are some legitimate reasons you might want to modify the host file. Let's say, for instance, you work at a company and you have an internal website that you want everybody to go to, but you don't necessarily want it public on the internet. So you can make this website just viewable internally, but still everybody would have to go to the IP address of that website. So what you can do is you can configure all the computers on your internal network, and you can modify that host file so that anytime somebody goes to your internal website's domain name, they're forwarded to it. But then it's not accessible outside. So a lot of companies do that. Okay, so first time we're going to be modifying this is going to be a little bit tricky. I'm going to go to computer. I'm going to go to my C drive. I'm going to go to Windows. I'm going to go to System 32. I'm going to go to drivers. I'm going to go to the etc folder. And then I have this host file right here. I'm going to double click on this host file and then I'm going to open it up in Notepad. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to just make google.com not accessible. So I'll open up Firefox right now. I go to google.com and you notice it works fine. Okay. So they give you all these things with a hashtag over here or a pound sign. This is just comments. So all this has been commented right here. So I'm just going to the spacing is important. So I'm going to go ahead and copy one of the examples that they give and paste it right here. And I'm going to change this to 0.0.0.0, which is basically not a website. And we're going to change this to www.google.com. Okay? So now saving this the first time is difficult. Once we've finished saving it, it's not going to be that bad. But I'll go File Save, and it's not going to let me save in here. Like I'll go All Files and hit Save, and it's just going to say, hey, we don't give you any permission. So hit No. Let's just save this to the desktop. Hit Save. Pops up on the desktop. Close out of it. And then we're going to drag this from the desktop into this folder, and it says, hey, you need administrative privileges to be able to do this. That's fine. Hit continue. And then that'll copy that. Now, if you take a look at these two are a little bit different. This is the old one right here, and in fact, I'm going to right click on this old one and get rid of it. That old one was a file. But this is a text document. We don't want this to be a text document. We want this to just be a normal file. So in order to change this back to a normal file, we go to Organize, Folder and Search Options, go to View, and we want to uncheck this Hide Extensions for known file types. And then I hit Apply and OK. And you notice now it says .txt at the end of it. I'm going to rename this and delete the whole .txt thing. So it just says hosts and then hit continue, and now we have our host file that's been modified. I can double click on this, open it back up in Notepad, and you see I have my line 0.0.0.0 is going to be google.com. Okay, so now let's see what we've done. I open up Firefox and I'll go to like yahoo.com, and yahoo.com totally works, so my internet definitely works. But if I go to www.google.com, it's going to say, we're having trouble finding that site. That's because we overrode the DNS settings for Google.com. So now, what if we wanted, when somebody went to Google.com, we wanted to actually go to a different website altogether, not just we can't find this. And this is actually why. Well, let's talk about really quickly why would hackers or somebody want to modify this host file. Well, there's a couple different reasons. One of them is when you go to a popular website like Google or Facebook or Snapchat or whatever, a hacker might want you to actually visit their website, and they'll have their website set up like the actual website, but they'll have their own ads on it. So every time you visit that website, they generate ad revenue. That's bad, but that's not as bad as the other way. A hacker or somebody will have you go to like PayPal or your bank's website, and rather than going to like Chase.com or BankOfAmerica.com, you will go to their website, and their website will look exactly like Chase.com does or BankOfAmerica.com, except it'll be their website. And when you try to log in using your username and password, the website won't work, but that username and password will be logged, and then now all of a sudden the hacker has captured your username and password for your bank account. So that's how bad people can use this to their advantage. Anyway, going back here, we're gonna use anytime somebody goes to Google.com, we're gonna have them go to mentalfloss.com. I picked this website specifically because it is a HTTP website, not an HTTPS website. So you'll notice, like, if I go to twitter.com, twitter.com automatically forwards me to an HTTPS website. HTTPS I'll show you in a second. Like how this handles, but HTTPS is going to like go, hey, your host file's been modified, and all these things will like signal. So I needed to find just an HTTP website, which Mental Floss is. So we're going to use Mental Floss, but we need to know the IP address for mentalfloss.com. So how do we find that? Well, first thing I want to show you is whois.com. So I go to whois.com, I click on whois, and let's type in like, I'll type in like mentalfloss.com. Okay, so this will tell me a lot of information about mentalfloss.com. When the domain name was registered, okay, when it expires, sometimes it gives me, this says the data's been protected, but I can still get, so this website's not a great example, but I can still usually get some information if I go to like facebook.com. So we can get like street address, we can get a phone number, fax number, email. This information, it's supposed to be accurate, although a lot of people just say protected, or they use fake information here. However, every time you register a domain name, you have to provide all of this information, and then this information is available to anyone who looks it up. It's just called a whois record search. But again, a lot of times this information isn't like correct, or it's protected or something. But anyway, we can get a lot of information. But one thing we can't get right here is an IP address. So what I could do is I could go to like CMD and type in ping mentalfloss.com, and this will actually give me an IP address right here. So notice it gives me this IP address right here, and I can copy it, and then I can come in here and I can paste that IP address. And so rather than going to mentalfloss.com, I can just go to that IP address. That's what a DNS server does. It translates the domain name, like mentalfloss.com, to the IP address of the website. Well, okay, we got this. Unfortunately for you guys, this method won't work, ping.com, because the school has blocked that command from working. Actually, they blocked the port that ping.com uses. So whenever you try to ping a website, it'll just say, we're not getting anything back from that website. The reason you're not getting anything back is because the port ping.com or ping uses, not ping.com, the port ping uses has been blocked. So by the school, but it should work outside of school. But here's how you can do it. There's a website called Ultra Tools, which I like. They've been around for a long time. And if we go to Ultra Tools right here, we can click on DNS tools. They have all kinds of information on here. We're going to do a DNS lookup of mentalfloss.com. Okay. And you'll notice it should be, I bet it'll be the same IP address. Oh, I think I have to go just like that, mentalfloss.com. You'll notice it'll be that same IP address, the 50.22.188.75. Okay, so this works for me. However, I'm doing this over the summer, this lab. In the future, the IP address of mentalfloss.com may change. It most likely will. So make sure that you go to Ultra Tools and you do a DNS lookup of mentalfloss.com and you find what IP address is given right there. So it's 50.22, and I'm just going to put this on top. All right. So now let's go back to our virtual machine. Okay, let's go back to our virtual machine right here. I'm going to close out of this. Let's modify that host file. And by the way, now that we've modified the host file, the computer will let us save it and do whatever to it. I'm going to go to Windows. I'm going to go to, I think it's System 32. Okay, I'm going to go to Drivers. Okay, I'm going to go to my etc folder, double click on host, double click on notepads. Okay, so this google.com, I'm going to change this address to 50.22.188.75. So now, anytime somebody on this computer, on this virtual machine, goes to google.com, they're going to be redirected to that website, which is the Mental Floss website. So I'm just going to save that. Notice now that we've modified this, we can just go file save and it works. Okay, and then I can open up Firefox. And I'm going to go to google.com. And it says, whoops, your connection's not secure. Okay, so it says the owner of google.com has configured their website improperly. So now what's happening is the Firefox is saying, hey, this doesn't look right. Like you're going to google.com, but it's not correct. Ask me later. Let's try. I use good old Internet Explorer and check it out. The Mental Floss website pops up. So this is one good thing about using a modern browser. So Firefox, the Firefox modern browser said, "Hey, like this isn't looking right. Like you're typing in google.com, but then it's like your computer's telling me to go to mentalfloss.com, or at least the IP address for mentalfloss.com. This doesn't look right. I think maybe a virus has tried to attack your server, so it's telling me that my connection's not secure. So a modern browser will tell you. It's not necessarily saying that, hey, your host file has been corrupted, but it's saying your connection is not secure, because obviously you're not, when we modified that host file, we're not going to google.com, we're going to mentalfloss.com. But using an old you know an older web browser, you can see like yahoo.com. If I go to that website, that one works just fine. But I go to Google, and rather than loading Google, we load that Mental Floss website, and even has the Mental Floss little tag right there. Looks like the website's not loading properly. The only reason it's not loading properly is because, well, this is a super old browser. This is like Internet Explorer 7, I think. And it's just an old browser. So modern browsers will detect if that host file has been modified, but not the old ones. And surprisingly enough, a lot of people are still using older browsers. Okay, so that does it for part one of this of this video, of this series of the host files. What I'd like you to do is take a screenshot of you going to, like, opening up Internet Explorer and going to google.com. Oh, we do not want this old version of Internet Explorer to be our default. I want a screenshot of you going to google.com and it going to the Mental Floss website. And again, the Mental Floss website might not load correctly. That's just because this is an old browser and it can't handle the new HTML scripting. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.